Hey friends, welcome to a new video here on the LNM channel. Today we're going to be looking at how I used my journals in the month of July. And we're going to look at any new acquisitions and stationery that I had, anything that I didn't end up using, or any shifts that I made in my systems throughout the month, kind of like a high level overview. These monthly wrap ups slash overviews slash flip throughs are meant to be a high level overview of what ended up happening in my journals throughout the month, as well as anything within the stationery realm. If you would like updates on a weekly basis, I do those on Patreon. So do check that out. It's always linked down in the description. And I'm going to be doing something new this month. I'm going to be adding to the wrap ups videos. I'm going to be doing a digital version as well. So this one is going to be the analog version and the stationary version of the monthly wrap up. So I'm going to show you what it is that I did end up doing in my journals, how it went throughout the month, what changes I made, and all that jazz. So if that's something that you think you'd be interested in, then go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, so we are here at the tabletop view, and let's see. I wanted to start off with this month's acquisitions. So this month I did end up getting 2 fountain pens. I added 2 fountain pens to my collection. Let's go ahead and zoom it in so it's a little easier to see. I did get some black ink on this, which is very upsetting to me. So I got 2 new fountain pens, new to me, and this one is right out of the package. This one I purchased off of the Stationery Writer. This is a hydrangea. This is a Sailor Pro Gear Slim hydrangea model. I was going to do a new pen day for this, but it went very, very poorly. I've been having such struggles with this pen. It's been very, very dry. I've put in 3 or 4 different inks and none of them have worked very, very well. So I just scrapped the new pen ink day, or I'm sorry, the new pen day for this one. Most recently, I've been inking it with Raven from the Diamond Forever ink line, and it's been working fairly well. There has been moments where it's gotten a little bit dry, but for the most part, this is the best behaving ink and pen combination so far for this pen. I will say, I don't think I mentioned it, this is an MF nib, and yeah, it has like a little flower. Can you see that? It's so pretty. This is my most expensive pen in my collection, and I gotta say, it is also the most finicky, which is pretty upsetting. But it's okay. If ever I get a chance to get this ground, then I will probably do so, just to see if it helps with, the dryness level. It's such a dry writer, and I have not found, aside from that, the Diamond Forever ink, I have not found an ink yet that has worked very well with this. It just doesn't like write. I don't know. It's very, very hard to deal with. So I am continuing to troubleshoot that and trying out different inks with this. And we'll see about that. I'm not planning on unhauling it at any point because I do really, really love the colorway and the fact that it is the hydrangea variation. I got it specifically because it reminds me of my mom and Maddie from Hello Naya, who's a very dear person to me. And so yeah, I don't think I'm going to unhaul it at any point, but it is giving me a bit of grief. So that's been a learning experience. And because I was so frustrated with this, I started talking about it in the Discord, which is public access. If you guys want to join the Discord, we have a community of stationery journal lovers and creatives. We recently opened a digital systems channel in the Discord as well, because a few of us have Notions or Obsidians. So that's linked down below as well. There is a private section for patrons, but for the most part, most of the channels are open to anyone who would like to join. We just ask that you read the rules and, of course, maintain a good community space. But I was complaining about the pen and my struggles with this, asking for help because there are quite a few fountain pen users. And what was I trying to say with that? Oh, I know what I was trying to say. I was leading up to the Twisby. So I was complaining about the pen and in my frustration, and then we ended up talking about Twisbies. And Laura and Stephanie over at the Discord were talking about how they love their Twisbies. And what I ended up doing was just going on jet pens, or not jet pens. I got this off of Yoseka Stationery. Going on Yoseka, and I had an order for some other things as well, and I decided to get this Twisby. This is the matcha green Twisby, and I got it in a fine nib, I want to say. Or did I get it in a medium nib? Bear with me. I think I might do a new pen day for this one, so stay tuned for that. I did get it in a medium. Okay, so my current TWSBI, which is the one over here that was gifted to me by Maddie, is an extra fine. And I was very curious about the medium nib, and so that's why I got this one. This is a silver one. I don't know if there's a difference between the silver and the rose gold. Do let me know if you have experience with fountain pens, if there's a difference in the style of how it writes or the feeling of it. I mean, I guess I will find out as well once I actually start writing with it, but I was very called to this colorway. It's the matcha green, like I mentioned. I'm very, very excited to ink this up, so I will be making a separate video for that. But those were the two pens that I acquired this month. In terms of inks, I acquired 2 bottles and or actually no, 3 bottles. Hold on. 3 bottles of inks because I did purchase dried guava when I purchased this pen from the Stationery writer. So first ink I acquired was dried guava by Lennon Toolbar, and this is an ink that I have been eyeing for quite a while. This green is beautiful. In fact, I could probably pair these two. It's not the same green, but I could probably pair them. This was the first thing I tried inking in this pen, and it was so incredibly dry. I was so frustrated. In retrospect, inking a brand new ink within a brand new pen is probably not the best idea, but I was just so excited. And because the top is a little green, I thought it would be cute. Anyways, I haven't actually written with this yet aside from this experiment, so I'm not 100% sure if it leans wet or dry, but I'm excited to experiment with this. I am also going to be making a video where I swatch all of these inks soon. So that was the first one that I acquired. And then just yesterday, I got my order for Yoseka. So it managed to land in July. As I'm recording this, it's August 1st. I wanted to record it the first day of August so that it was very true to what I ended up doing in July, especially when it comes to the journals. So then the next 2 bottles I got was this one, which is a Kobe ink. My first Kobe ink bottle. It is Rocco Himalayan Blue. If you've been here a while, you know that I got a sample from Mike over at the Cat Collage Club. She sent me a sample of this, and this ink became a favorite of mine very surprisingly because I am not usually a very big blue fan when it comes to ink, but something about this ink is just so compelling to me, and I fell in love, especially the combination of that ink with this TWSBI. And so I got it. And the reason why I actually needed to make or decided that I wanted to make the order on Yoseka was because this ink came back into stock. But then I realized, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I'm getting inks, and I'm going to get this Kobe ink because I am pretty much almost out of the sample and I want to be able to write with it. So that's the next ink I got. And then the reason why I made this order in Yoseka in the first place was because I was interested in this particular color. And I believe this color I saw originally on Julia Here's I was gonna say website, her YouTube channel, in one of her, I think, challenges in May. I'm not sure, but she inked this color, and oh my goodness, when I saw her swatching it, I was absolutely compelled. I needed it in my life. And I went onto Yoseka to get it, and it was out of stock. And it just recently went back in stock, and so I ran to get it. It has a name, of course, that I keep forgetting. Hold on one moment. I'm looking for it. Okay, so this is Tomo and Lim's Friendship Chocolate Cosmos. And it does have some shimmer in it. I'm not a huge shimmer fan. Oh, there you go. You can kind of see some of the shimmer there. I'm not a huge shimmer fan, but I do prefer it over sheeny inks, so I'm not too pressed about it. I absolutely love that so much. I did ink, or rather, I did swatch these 2 colors and the samples that I got as well, which I'll talk about now, in my cousin. So I'll show you guys what those look like in a bit once I get to my cousin. But yeah, that's the next and last bottle that I got in the month of July. And then I got these 2 samples, which are both Kobe inks. One of them is this one, which is the number 24 Nakayamate Black. And then I got this one, which is also a Kobe ink, number 79, Tamon Kakitsubata. And this one is like a periwinkle-ish color. Like I mentioned, I swatched them. Love this color. I definitely think that I'm going to get a bottle of it. I think that for me, again, kind of thinking about how there might be some inks that are very dry or very wet and may not have great like, they may not make great companions to an actual pen in my experience, but because I use them for art and printables and deco and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter to me if the ink isn't very compatible with a pen because I can always use it elsewhere. And so if I really like the color, then I'll be compelled to purchase it. So that is that. So those are the inks and the fountain pens that I acquired this month. Then in terms of stationery, I got three PET tapes. Two of them were from the stationery writer, and one of them was from that Yoseka order. These three, I think these are Pion or Peon. I'm not sure how you say that. I'm not sure who the artist is for this one. And this one is Mr. Eggplant's monologue tape. And so those were the three PET tapes that I got. No stickers this month, except for these, which are deco stickers. These are called Japanese Art Neko deco stickers, and it's basically cats in kimonos and traditional wear. I was so obsessed when I saw it. I'm in a kind of like traditional Japanese mood right now, and so I was very compelled to purchase them. So that is what I got in terms of other stationery products, but that's pretty much it. There was no new journals this month or anything like that. No sticker sheets. I am due for an order on Sticky Club, but for now we're gonna avoid that as much as possible. Okay. So in previous months, I had talked about how rings were starting to invade my system. I was using rings more and more. And I had recently, I think it might have been June, where I moved my, or it might have been May, but I moved my kind of like planning system into this rings binder. And during the early bit of July, I also considered the potential for because I'm thinking about 2026, it's inevitable that I start thinking about 2026, considering that we're entering Hobonichi season. I'm thinking about things in my lineup and just different changes that I can do, kind of and being informed by how I've been using my journals the past couple of months and throughout 2025. And I considered potentially making it so that I had like an all-in-one system in the rings. And so I ended up doing some experimentation and printing out some test printables. These are from Megan Rhiannon. She had released her True Personal inserts in July, and I took that as a sign. And so I tried it out to see if I liked it for like the media log, for example, in the same way that I use my weeks. And I did quite like that. I also printed out an example of a vertical weekly and tried doing that and seeing how I liked that. This one was not as successful, but I did enjoy it. And then I had an accompanying page, but I did cut it up and paste it into one of my other journals. I'll show you guys that when I get there. I tried doing a daily page as well and kind of seeing how I felt about that. And this one was probably my least successful of the spreads. I didn't quite enjoy this. But yeah, I spent a couple of days kind of experimenting with that as a possibility. And I don't want to 100% disregard that just yet. But I did end up not continuing. I don't think I have anything else in here that is about that experimentation phase. Let me just make sure. I did have moments. Oh, so you have here another one of those where I kind of tried doing the delineating line for the daily. And this one I liked a little bit more than this one, but still not 100% successful. I think I did end up, oh, you can see here's the other half of one of them. You can kind of see that. And then I did have another one that I did glue into one of the spreads, into one of the journals. So I'll show you that in a bit. But all to say, I don't hate it. I quite like it, and there's definitely a possibility that this is something I could potentially do next year. I don't find myself compelled to do that for now. I think I'm leaning toward in another direction, but I'm not 100% saying no. What I did end up finding was that I was struggling with the rings for my planning. And I really like the concept of rings for planning, but for some reason, maybe it's just that I was very stressed out that week or what have you. I was really craving something more similar to when I was doing planning in my traveler's notebook, my horizontal weekly. And so I went to JetPens to order a traveler's notebook horizontal weekly when I remembered that I had a Hobonichi Weeks from 2024 that I had originally purchased for planning that I didn't end up finishing. And it's one of those, this is a beautiful original Tomoe River paper. It's a Hobonichi Weeks Mega, and I have gone in and out of this multiple times since I first tried using it. And every single time I try to go in and I try to use it, it just isn't successful. And I had at one point decided, you know, maybe the Hobonichi Weeks just isn't for me for planning because it's fairly small. But I really needed the horizontal weeklies. And so I didn't want to have to purchase a whole new journal if I did have the possibility of using this instead. And so I did end up redating. I've been using this as my planner basically the last couple of weeks. I don't want to show you the actual spreads because there's confidential information in it, but I'll kind of just, I mean, it's not super confidential, but I would still prefer not to have it on the internet. So I'll just kind of like go through here and show you that they have been used. And I've been using the notes pages as well. As you can kind of see here, I've been using them. I had, let's see, I had set up like these weekly spreads and kind of had these ideas of what to do it for, but I've just kind of let myself be messy with it. I think that I've reached a point where I'm okay with being messy in the Hobonichi Weeks. I think I hadn't been there before. It felt like it was a waste of paper. It still feels like there's a certain waste. Oh, also, I forgot about this. I'll talk about this in a second. It feels like there's a certain waste factor in the fact that this is really good Tomoe River paper and I'm using up that really good paper for these messy, super fleeting notes that I'm never going to want to look at again. And this book feels to me like it has the quality of being archival, but at the same time, so like, is this a book that I'm probably going to keep at the end of the year? No. But journals are meant to be used, you know, like, okay, so it's not an archival book. At the end of the day, I don't know. I'm just letting myself use it because it's working for me. And if it continues to work for me in the next couple of weeks, then it's probably going to be something that I do purchase for 2026, a Hobonichi Weeks Mega, which is another thing that I'm really surprised about because when I first tried using the Mega, I remember being very annoyed at the fact that it was such a thick book, and I've not been having that issue at all this time around. So that just shows you that, you know, that's just a perfect example of how you shift and change. I recently, talking about this, so I recently, if you've been here, no, you know that I got a Kobo, and I love it. I do really love the Kobo. But I recently changed the interface to co-reader. And to do that, that means that I lost the progress that I had on all of the books that I had been reading. And to make sure that I ended up in the same place, I just took notes on the books that I was reading and the progress that I was, like the percentage of where I was in the book and what page and what chapter, etc., etc. So that when I went into those books on the co-reader interface, I would be able to jump to these sections. So I've just been using this as a place for fleeting notes when I'm at work, or when I'm working rather for like meetings and stuff like that. And it's been going really well. And I've just let myself be messy in this and just use it when I need to. I'm not super consistently looking at the weekly page, but it is there for when I need it, for when I need to kind of like reorient myself. And so for now, that's what I'm using that for. And I'm soft retiring the personal rings for the time being. I will probably come back to it at some point, and that's fine if I don't or if I do. But for now, with planning, this is what's working. And so that's kind of like what ended up happening with July in terms of my functional system. Next up, let's talk about the 5-year. So the 5-year has been one of those books that, unsurprisingly to me, it's not one that comes naturally to me. I did in July just go ahead and date all of the pages as I needed to. But in July, I really only, I think, filled out 3 days. Let's see. So this is the first. I don't think I filled out any of the June ones. Yeah, I didn't. I just dated them all so that I could, you know, jump into it whenever I wanted to or could. I am saving that information for these days in Obsidian, though. And I'll talk a bit about that later. I am planning on making a video on how I'm right now kind of like using digital and analog systems within my kind of like journaling realm. and how they work in tandem for me. I am planning on making a video of that, so stay tuned. But I don't have, like, it's not disappeared. I do have a lot of these days in my Obsidian, but I didn't actually go in and write them. I think the only day I wrote was this day, and it's because I basically took the day off and I was just having an artist date for myself. This is when I went back to work. I was not doing okay. It was a bad day. But yeah, that's it. I didn't do anything else. I do have to redate, or not redate, but I do have to date all of these days. Today's the 1st, like I mentioned. So I use this pencil board because it's nice and stiff to have a nice backing, because those stamps can be finicky. So yeah, the 5-year has been just not happening very, very much, and that's fine. I'm not super pressed about it. I have the information somewhere if I need it, and following something that Lydia says, as long as there's more in this at the end of the time that I use it than there isn't, it's fine. Right now, I'm in a pretty busy stage of my life, and so that is how it's manifesting. But I quite love this paper, and I'm actually thinking about the possibility of using a Midori Codex next year as my kind of like magpie journal instead of the Hobonichi A5. I haven't 100% decided to or against that because of the weeklies, but I definitely love this paper, so I'm not regretting getting this, but it didn't have a major role in my journaling in July. Something that towards the end of the month did start having a major role, and this only really started happening towards the end of, I think, the last week of July, is morning pages. So I'm a big proponent of morning pages, of stream of consciousness long form journaling, but it is something that I've kind of been off this year since around February or March. I kind of fell off and haven't been able to get my groove with it again. And I do always feel the difference when I am having a consistent morning pages practice versus when I'm not. And in the last week or so of July, I read this book that really inspired me to start back up again with the morning pages, and I have been. So I've been pretty consistently being in here. This is one of those behind the scenes journals that I don't show on the internet, but I did want to mention that lately, for me, in the last couple of weeks, I found myself more drawn to just writing in a very linear way in my morning pages journal, more so than in my daily logging kind of like creative way. And that's just the stage of life that I'm in right now. Since I'm so busy, I just feel the need to kind of just like write. And you'll see how that was impacted in my other journals. But um what I wanted to say about that is to just allow yourself to kind of like ebb and flow in the types of journaling that you do. Sometimes you'll be called to do one sort of journaling, and other times you'll be called to do another one, and they're both in service of you. So that's just what I wanted to say about that. Um, I haven't had the space really, or the emotional bandwidth, or the creative bandwidth to be as consistent in my creative journals as I would like this month. But that does not mean that I haven't been there for myself, because I've allowed myself to journal in other ways, i.e., morning pages, kind of stream of consciousness, and also Obsidian, which is just a little bit easier for me in the day to day because I'm already on my computer. Is it the prettiest thing? Not necessarily, but it's just what's been working for me in July. And so that's just what it is. Speaking of the daily log, since we're already here, this is going to be a twofold conversation. I'm going to bring this out because, of course, if you've been here for a while, you know that my daily log tends to run in my Take a Note. However, that has changed this month. Quite interestingly, let me see. Did I end up doing any in here in July? I can't remember. Okay, yes, I think I only got maybe 3 spreads done. Let's see. Okay, no, I got a few. Okay, cool. So I do have something to show. Okay, so morning pages. I'm sorry, not morning pages, daily journaling. So this is what my daily log had been looking like in the tan. I really love journaling in this journal. The spreads are really, really nice. However, I was being called to something different this month. And so I did end up not sticking to the tan halfway through the week. Or I'm sorry, halfway through the month. I tried a few different things with these spreads, notably. One is that I tried decorating them separately. So normally when I decorate these spreads, I kind of decorate them as a spread more so than not. With these, because I was so busy, I just ended up decorating this page. And then when I went to this page, I decorated this page. And then when I got to this page, I decorated this page. So there's not really a cohesion between the spreads. It's more of like a by page theme. And I really enjoyed that. I liked how they kind of work with each other, or I'm sorry, no, when they work within each other, even if it creates this kind of like weird dichotomous situation. I tried this color for the month's color and I hated it, so I did go to another color instead. And I also tried kind of like different variations with the inks. I tried doing like the full page here, one color per page. I really love how this spread looks. These are some printables by Ray, Nina Bermudez. And these are from Aaron Ware, of course, La Dolce Vita. These are my printables. This is a bookmark by Katie. What's her last name? Katie Mai. I was a patron of hers at the beginning of the year, and this is one of her bookmarks, and I just printed out as a sticker instead. Really love that. And this is one of Mina's, Mina Pomelo, and this is Mike's from Cat Collage Club. So really loving this spread. Of course, Saturday and Sunday doesn't end up happening. I didn't journal at all this week because this week I took it off of work, and so I wasn't really... I take it off one of my jobs, but I had to work the other job, and then there was a million things happening. I just was not compelled to journal at all, and so I did not. That's fine. This week, I was compelled to do... I wanted to do two things. One was not write in fountain pen. I ended up writing in... where is it? I wanted black ink, and I don't have a black ink that I really like right now, which is why I ended up getting this sample from Kobe to see if I like that ink. I was writing, I don't know where it is, with a Muji pen, the 0.38, and I really liked that. And then I tried, instead of keeping to the column, I tried kind of using the whole page. That didn't end up continuing because I just fell off of daily journaling, but I really liked how that looked, and I probably would have continued trying that out the rest of the week if I had been a little bit more consistent with my daily journaling in these weeks. Of course, I was not. And at this point, I was like, you know what? I think I want to try something different. I don't know what exactly happened that compelled me to do it this week, but what ended up happening was that I decided I wanted to go back into the TN. So I'm going to close this for now. We'll come back to it when we get into the into the Magpie Commonplace section. But continuing on with the daily log, I was compelled, I was desiring being back in a TN. So I reset this up with my vertical weekly and my blank insert. So what I ended up doing with the blank insert, funnily enough, let me take these out. What I ended up doing with the blank insert was basically Frankensteining it. I had a Baumkuchen insert that I had ripped apart when I decided I wasn't going to be in the TN anymore, and I still had a bunch of papers for it. And I had a blank Midori notebook that I wanted a grid on, and so I tried printing on it. That wasn't wholly successful, but what I ended up doing was Frankensteining it, and now this is an MD and Tomoe River paper combination journal. Absolutely fine, not a big deal. But I decided I was gonna daily journal in here, kind of similar to what I had been what I showed in my daily journal, in my daily log video, which, by the way, thank you so much. I've officially hit thank you for this. This just reminded me. Thank you so much. I just hit 3K followers, 3K subscribers here on YouTube. And that video, the daily log video, is my first video to hit 10K views. Thank you so much for every single one of you. Anyone who's been here from the beginning, anyone who just came. I can't believe there's 3,000 of you who are compelled to watch my videos or enjoy them or want to spend time with me. I am so grateful for every single one of you. And yeah, I just wanted to mention that. So after I recorded that video, I think that's probably what it was. I saw my old journals and I was like, man, I really did enjoy journaling this way. And so I just think that I do prefer for daily logging to not have a dated format. You can see here, this is the vertical weekly that I cut up from the rings, the ones that I really enjoyed, and I put that in. I just tipped it into here. And yeah, I tried out daily journaling in here. I was really struggling with the pen. This is when I got the a hydrangea Sailor Pro Gear, and it was just really, really dry. I tried it here with the Rocco Himalayan Blue, and I tried it later with Diamond Earl Grey, and that wasn't successful either. And then now it's in the Raven Ink. I really like this spread. Immediately as soon as I get into a TN, I feel a bit more scrappy. And so you can kind of see that manifest in the pages. I have been really busy this week, and so I haven't done much journaling. As you can see, Monday, Tuesday, Friday. So I haven't done much journaling this week. So we have some there, but that's why I prefer not having dates for my daily log, because it is stream of consciousness. It's just kind of like whatever I feel compelled to write that day. Also, the word of this video is compelled. I keep saying that over and over again. Sorry if it's a little bit annoying. I know I'm annoying myself by how many times I'm saying it, but I'm compelled to say compelled, if you will. So yeah, I've been really enjoying being in here for the daily log. Aside from that, I also got the vertical weekly, as I mentioned. And this is a vertical weekly that I had from the beginning of the year. I am consistently in and out of a vertical weekly. I don't know what it is, that I have moments where I really want to be in it and moments where I don't. And it just so happens that right now is one of those where I do want to be in it. And so I went ahead and dated it that first week. I didn't end up doing anything in it, as you can see, but I do really like how the numbers came out. So there's that. And then the next one, this week I was so dysregulated, guys. Emotionally, it was horrible. But yeah, I did end up adding things into it, and this is what this week looks like so far. These are my printables, and these are two of Erin Ware's. I forgot to mention here, this is one of Nina's, again, Nina Bermudez Ray, her printables, and then these are just random little stickers from here and there. But I have been playing around with the vertical weekly, just having some like general highlights from the day and such like that. And something that I've been kind of trying to figure out is the friction that happens when I have this vertical weekly and also the Hobonichi vertical weekly. But what I think I'm going to do is this is going to be more like life oriented, like real life oriented. And then the vertical weekly in the cousin will be more media related and commonplacey in nature, which is what I originally wanted to do anyways. And so I'm going to kind of try and see if that continues to work out or not, but that's what that's looking like. And yeah, in July, I ended up going back into a TN, which I really like. I love the TN system. I think it's a very forgiving system, and I quite enjoy how creative I feel when I'm inside it. Something about I think it's the paper. I don't know if it's the cream. I do think cream paper. If the Hobonichi Cousin came in cream paper, it would be everything for me. I feel like that would just make it so absolutely perfect. But yeah, that's kind of like what's been going on with the daily log. And there has been a lot of daily log that has happened in my Obsidian as well. So I'll talk a bit more about that in the Obsidian video, but I have been kind of like going between these for daily logging. I have been doing a lot of digital journaling this month just because it's been easier. But I love the TN. I'm excited to see how it keeps going. I don't think I'll end up getting any dated. I don't feel the need to get dated journals when it comes to the TN, because I am someone who jumps in and out of them. I would rather just keep it undated. And that way it is very organic. I can jump in and out. And then what I end up using in the year is what I end up using, and what I don't is what I don't. And that's that, you know? I don't want to be forced. These very much feel to me like these are part of my self-care, if you will. So that is the daily log. Next up, if we're talking about day-to-day life, we'll get into the Joy Journal. So in the Joy Journal, I did do a pretty big printing in the Joy Journal and in the Commonplace. I did a big printing session. I haven't actually like finished writing in the spreads themselves, but they are all pasted in. So I'll show you what that looks like. There hasn't been any additions to this page. As long as I'm alive, I have infinite chances. Don't forget. Don't forget. So in July, I don't think I added anything here, but I did add these images, which these are moths that ended up being on my house, and they were beautiful. I took a picture of them for Maddie. It was Pride, so I added this picture of Luffy and Bonclay that says Queers Never Die. I added my patrons to my monthly, which is something I've been doing every month since April, I believe. And then I added the ones for July as well. I love how this spread looks, guys. Isn't it pretty? This is a perfect example. This printable here. This is one of my printables. This is from this color is Grotto by Diamine Inkvent 2024. And I would never write with this color. I would absolutely never write with this color. It is, first of all, very, very orange, and I'm not a huge orange fan when it comes to writing. And it sheens like crazy. I can't stand sheening inks. But I am obsessed, absolutely obsessed with how it looks like in like printables and like in art. So I'm obsessed with it. This is everything to me. I love this spread even as is. And then aside from my printables, the ink printables, I have a couple of ones from Erin Ware and then my patrons. So that's what I did in the monthlies in July. Another thing that I ended up doing, like I mentioned, is pretty much sticking in a bunch of images. So last we spoke, or I showed you, it was this spread, and then everything else is new. So it's just a bunch of images. I was able to do a massive printing session. I think I printed over 500 images, and between like this journal and the Commonplace, oh lordy lord. So there's that. Yeah, just pictures of Frida. I had gone out with my grandparents, some writing, blooming fields, these 2 vintage pens that I purchased. I put up a shelf in my office. This was my birthday week. I turned 30. Megan Rhiannon was inspired by me and posted it on YouTube and then commented also on my video. Megan, if you're watching, shout out to you. And so I posted all of that here as well. I changed up my bento links and kind of changed the theme out. Added Luffy. Stephanie on my Discord sent me a happy birthday image of Luffy for my birthday, and I almost keeled over and passed out. My sister made this little collage of images of us, and yeah, it was grand. It was grand. A friend of mine, one of my best friends, he sent me Pokemon Evolution things, and I screenshotted that and added it in here as well. Just some more images. These are something I designed. It's a stock image, and then I gave her a star head. I love her. It's a star character that I'm designing, but she's very much under construction. I was mowing the lawn, the locusts. I organized my office. It was a gloomy day, which means it was a little chillier. My mom made quiche. I love quiche. More Luffy, of course. I took Frida to the vet. Suki was being Suki. I play with inks for the first time in a while. This is an image of Stephanie's spreads with my printables. I will continuously die whenever I see people using my printables. This is an image from the Lorax, and they memified it. I never see you at the club. Okay. I never see you speaking for the trees. And ain't that just a mood? We had a heat wave this week, and a couple of family friends, lent me a AC unit, and it is the only reason I'm here to speak to you at this time. Our rose, we had a rose that bloomed. It was beautiful, beautiful. You can't even tell, but it was like a burgundy color, gorgeous. And then I came across this post that said that the Iron Giant took place in a fictional city in Maine, and that made my heart rejoice. So I added that in there. And then I have these images that I printed and still haven't added, kind of tucked in here for me to add. So that's still something that I need to do. But yeah, I ended up just sticking them in. I didn't actually write in these, but they are in the notebook, and that is what matters to me at the end of the day. If I get to write in them, great. And if I don't, that's fine as well. As long as the pictures are printed and pasted, they are there as an opportunity for me to remember. That is what matters. I will get to them eventually. In terms of the back pages, I think I did add quite a few memes, but I can't recall if all of these were added in July or not. I don't know if these were here last time I showed them to you, but I will kind of just like show them, and you can pause to read if you would like. But almost ready to move on into a new meme page, which is crazy. And then in terms of the currently inked, I did do a currently inked. Here we are. Katie called this a Summerween theme, and I could not agree more. I love it. I love that. That's what I'm calling it. Even though I literally did this a couple of weeks ago though, 7/22, I already want to kind of shift things around. Something I'm thinking about is for next next time I ink, I think I'm going to leave it to 4 pens, like 1 pen per week. So 1 color per week. I think I'm going to experiment with that next time. We shall see if I stick to it or not, because I like having a variety of options. But so far, the TWSBI with Taranishi Abarose is the best behaving combination. Really loving Robert Oster's, and I completely forgot that I have this one inked. And then for the Luffy pages, it's grown. Look at him. He's so precious to me. I love him. I do think we're probably going to end up filling this page in before the end of the year, so we might have to extend the spread into another. But for now, it's all here, and he gives me serotonin every single time I look at him. So that's the Joy Journal. Got quite a few sessions in here, even though they weren't like fully, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be completed. It just has to get started, if you will. Okay, and now we've reached the media journal of it all. So let's look at the week's media journal, and then we can look at the commonplace. So we continued on. I continued on with the weeks in July for media journaling. Let's see here. In July, I also... Did I do this in July? I feel like I showed you guys this already. Yeah. Yeah, I showed you guys this already, right? Pretty sure I did. Or did I show you this one? I can't remember. Well, just in case you haven't seen it, this is what the June page ended up looking like. I have to do the July one. But in terms of the daily log, this is what the spreads look like. I kind of stuck for the most part with, you know, adding the log here and then just general reactions on the side. I did switch that up. As you can see here, I tried adding this little timestamp situation that I have. I don't like that at all here, so I didn't do that again. And then I also experimented with not doing the reactions and then putting the first songs in here again. And also adding the tracker. Don't quite like that either. And I had tried that already, but, you know, you try and try again. I tried that in here and I didn't quite like it. So yeah, I don't quite like that. So we're not doing that again. Here I tried doing the reactions, but then also having the little tracker. And I think I decided I would rather not have the tracker, truthfully. So we're not going to put it anymore on here. I might just tip it in. And then this week. I just added the designs, the stickers on them. I am keeping my media journal, again, the log, I'm keeping it on my Obsidian. It's just very easy for me in the middle of the night when I finish reading to just add the log on there. And then at the end of the week, I'll go in and add it here. And that way it's cemented in history. Let's see. Let me talk about... That's kind of like what the log has been looking like. Let me tell you about things that I... Just on top, kind of like overview. I read Pet Sematary. I watched the Shark Whisperer documentary based off of Ocean Ramsey. I read Jurassic Park. Very much loved that. I read... Let's see. I rewatched Sinners. I finished Dark Water, which is a Japanese book by the author of The Ring. I finished... Let's see, what else did I finish? I finished Nothing But Blackened Teeth, another horror novella. And I finished yesterday Apparitions, a Ghost Stories of the Edo Period. I do go in depth on that, also in my weekly updates, by the way, if you're interested in that. I haven't done anything in the back yet with the wiggly squiggly calendar. I'm dreading doing it, and then it looks ugly. I'm probably gonna just do stickers because I don't want it to bleed into each other. So I just haven't had the time, but once I sit down and play with some ink, I'll probably get that done. But yeah, it's been going very well in the weeks. I'm very glad that I've been consistent in it again. I will probably be getting another weeks as my media journal, very likely in 2026. That's so hard to say. I can't believe. Okay, and then finally, but definitely not least, is the commonplace / media companion / magpie journal / whatever. If we're gonna go based off of how I like how Erin Ware calls hers. It's the desk reference. But yeah, this is definitely a combination of things. Which is why I am wanting to kind of merge this style of journaling with my joy journal next year and kind of keeping it together, because I feel like those two things together are really what memory keeping is for me. But we shall see. We shall see. I haven't 100% decided on that. In terms of these pages, I think I did stick in these in here. Before I liked Luffy, I had so many other interests. Now all I care about is whether Luffy had a good day. I think I did show you guys these already, but well, anyways, that's that. In July, I did set up the monthly, but I didn't end up adding anything to it because again, I was very much in Obsidian, and so kind of these like inboxy type things I've been using Obsidian for, and so I think inspired by a few people that I've seen, I might switch this into being more junk journal or something like that. I don't know. I haven't 100% decided, but I do think I'm going to start switching up my monthly now that if I continue to keep journaling in the way that I have with both systems. But yeah, there's nothing really in here. I was listening to Tyrant by Beyonce nonstop this day. Like I mentioned, I read Pet Sematary by Stephen King, and I read Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton? Can't pronounce his last name. I haven't done anything for August yet. Let's see here. In terms of the Vertigo weeklies, I still get a lot of images, and because I'm not 100% sure what ended up happening in June versus July, I'm just kind of gonna quickly go through this just to show you, just in case, because yeah, I don't know. There was a point at the end of June where I was journaling in here, and then I don't know if that went into July, and I don't know if I ended up showing you that in last month's flip through. So just showing you these. They're so precious to me. I love them. Luffy, my beloved. And here you can see the little time stamps, little time wheels. I love them so much. They're so cute. I tried doing that for like the media that I was consuming and like the times. I've been reading a lot at night this past month. Oh, that was June. So you guys would have definitely seen that. Okay, this is July. Okay, my bad. I don't know what time is. What is time? So they're more empty than not. I did fill in when I wanted to, when I kind of had little moments. This was the day that I had my little artist date. I really like how this looks. And I'm excited to kind of see how I build around it once I get to it. I tried doing my weekly time or my daily timeline in here as well, and I keep falling off of it, and I don't 100% know why. I can't just stick to it. It might be because I'm busy, but I don't know. It's proving a little difficult for me. I moved the little wheels to the bottom, and I like that a lot more. But yeah, I didn't keep up with it. And then around here, like I mentioned when I was talking about my monthly, I was listening nonstop to Tyrant by Beyonce to the point where it was just like brain rotting me. Like my brain was rotting. And so I just went in and added the lyrics to here. I love it. I love the lyrics to this particular section of Tyrant. If you're on TikTok, you'll probably know it went very, very viral. Nothing on this spread. And then here, yesterday, before the end of the day, I did swatch the inks. So there's the Himalayan Rocco, the Nakayamate Black, the Kobe Tamon Kakitsubata, and then the Tono and Limbs Chocolate Cosmos. They're so pretty. I love them. I love them so much. And that was July in the Vertigo Weekly. As you can see, it was pretty underwhelming, which is quite unfortunate. I don't think I did anything in the May pages, but we're still going to flip through them just in case anything reminds me of anything. Even though, yeah, I haven't actually gone in and done any of the writing for a lot of these pages. I still have to do that. So that was May. In June, I have to go in and add the first songs still. I added quotes and words. I don't know if... Again, I don't remember. I have to like actually take notes because I can't remember if I ended up doing this in June or in July. Hold on. Okay. I just went into the video from last month to make sure that I knew what I was talking about. And because I don't want to just be like, I don't know. I don't remember. No. Okay. I hadn't done any of this. So I did do this in July. So I had one big session where I added all of these images in July. So I pasted these, which are one piece images. This one piece as well. I added these, which are from One Piece as well. Say it with me. I was watching Whole Cake Island in this point, so I had Katakuri on the mind. These are some images from Bakudeku. He's so precious. They're so precious to me. From a manhwa I was reading, I added them in, and then these images were new as well. And then, of course, these are all new because these were in July. I just pasted these in. We already talked through that. So that was all done in July, just confirming that. This was also done in July. So let's look at these quotes and these words. So here we got a quote from Franz Kafka. It says, I am constantly trying to communicate something incommunicable, to explain something inexplicable, to tell about something I only feel in my bones and which can only be experienced in those bones. February 27th. I don't know who wrote this because it wasn't attributed to anybody. I am now 26 and have done nothing. No book, no stage career, a lot of unsatisfied desires, and a realization that I am but half of what I hope to be. But I am terribly, profoundly happy and terribly, profoundly unhappy. I am alive. Thank God. And then this is by Anis Mojgai, from For Those Who Can Ride an Airplane for the First Time. And I dream too much, and I don't write enough, and I'm trying to find God everywhere. And then this is excerpted from Leela Chatty's poem Tea, published in the Missouri Review. 5 times a day, I make tea. I do this because I like the warmth in my hands, like the feeling of self-directed kindness. Love, love, love. And then here are some more quotes that I just moved in here. These are from the artist Amber Sky Alcock. You're telling me everyone isn't tremendously specific about their taste in small spoon? It's better to have YOLO'd and YOLOst than to have never YO-lived at all. And then here is my obligatory Sinners spread. I have some images from Sinners. I'm going to write in some, or rather, I was going to. I already did that because they're over here on my typewriter. I put the lyrics from Hangman. Anyways, and then I have a few different things that I collected from Sinners. I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to spoil anyone, but definitely best movie of the year so far for me. I did already show this. This is another new spread I printed out and wrote. It's a full spread that Horikoshi did from My Hero Academia. And it's gorgeous. And I can't wait to have this, like, actually own this spread. So I wrote a little bit about that. That was something I did in July. I didn't end up doing the mood board. I stuck in more images from Whole Cake Island, specifically the relationship between Katakuri and Brule. Blanked. These panels as well. I want to write a little bit more about their relationship. And then this is an image where we go into Wano. So I'm going to like kind of divide it up is what I'm thinking. And then write a little bit about finally getting into the Wano arc. And then I had already written this, but I did add these other images. And I did a, what I call overflow fan art page. They're just fan art that I have that I don't have anywhere else to put. And so they kind of become this own little collage situation. I'll probably write a bit about some of them later if I don't have more to print. Another little overflow section for a doujin that I read surrounding Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. This one was already in here. This is a spread on a manhwa that I read. I will not go into details about that here. If you're interested, I did talk about it pretty in depth in a weekly update video on Patreon. But moving on, this is another manhwa that I read that I am going to write quite a bit about. And those were the June pages I worked on. What I worked on in June. What I worked on in July for June. Getting into July, here are the pages that I have. I created a spread for the July 1st songs, and it looks a little bit different from the others, and I really, really love how it looks. I'm going to mimic this in August as well. I just really love the aesthetic of the stamp. It's like one of my favorite things. I think that it just makes it look so, so nice. And then I had these Luffy and Zoro images here already, but I ran out of space, and I was like, you know what? Whatever, it's a spread. So I just continued on here, and I love how it looks. So loving that very, very much. It was Nami's birthday this day, so I have a spread full of all the fan art that I collected from that day. And then this is a spread dedicated to these images of My Hero Academia's characters that Horikoshi made of them like adults that I'm obsessed with, growing up class 1A through Izuku's camera. And I wrote a little bit about that. It was important to me to have this page in here. Before there was One Piece for me, there was My Hero Academia. It holds a very special place in my heart. A lot of these characters are very, very important to me. And so seeing them grown up like this, even though there are definitely a lot of things and a lot of gripes that I have with the story at the end of it all, I am still very appreciative of it. So yeah, very important for me to have them there. And also they just look so good. Like look at Kirishima. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. That manhwa again. And then I think that might be it. Oh, no, hold on. Okay, actually, I'm not going to show this, but I did take a course, another course, workshop situation with Cody Cook Parrott, and I took notes. I don't want to show that because it is paid, and I don't want, that out there, but I did take notes in here. And I think now that's it. Yeah, that's all I got. So that's what I ended up working on in here in July. So those are all of my journals. That's what I ended up doing in July. What do you guys think? Was it a lot? Was it little? I think that it was definitely more than I originally thought I had done. I am very, very proud of myself for what I accomplished in July. And, it's just going to be one of those things. Sometimes it's months where you do a bit more and sometimes you do a bit less, but it is what it is. But I'm very happy that I was able to get through a lot of the printing backlog for both the Joy Journal and the Commonplace, because that was driving me a bit insane. It was about 3 months worth actually of printing backlog. And so I never want to get to that again. Right now I'm 3 weeks backlogged and I definitely need to print them out, but that's what ended up happening in July. So friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this little time that we spent together. Let me know what it is that you were doing as you were watching. If you were doing it, if you were using this video as a body doubling video, if you sat down and just watched or listened, I would love to know what it is that you were doing as you were watching. Let me know how it went in your journals in July, if there were any changes that you made to your system. Are you guys excited for the start of Hobonichi season now coming soon? I am undecided as to whether I'm excited or anxious about it, but we shall see what the new lineup brings. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next post. Bye!